Hey everyone, I'm back again with another video, and this one is a two-story video, so be sure to stick around for the second story as well. The first one is titled, Wife of 10 Years, Together for 18 Years, Cheating, but Feel as Though She's Watering It Down. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Let's get right into it. This is a throwaway account I've created to separate from my normal Reddit account. I'm gonna try and dot point what's going on here, and my main reasons for posting is that I haven't been able to vent about this to anyone, and I feel like I'm going mad and perhaps being a little unreasonable. Went to wife's Christmas drinks and just felt some awkward and weird vibes between her and a guy she works with, who she has told me in the past she thinks is good looking and I can handle that sort of thing. Caught her rubbing his leg when I'd be gone to the bar to get a drink. Confronted her about it, and she was all coy about it, and it didn't happen, you're being paranoid, etc. Has since owned up that she was. She assured me that she would make it clear it was a stupid drunken thing with him and that would be it. They met up at work and have since added each other on a private messaging app that has 1 hour expiry on the messages they send each other. We had originally set this app up for some fun between us and had agreed it would only be for us. I have asked her to friend zone him ASAP, and she assures me she has, and all they have is a friendship and it's nothing more than that. His wife is completely unaware that my wife and him are communicating. I appreciate my wife's honesty, but it took some digging to get to here. I'm feeling extremely jealous, hurt, and afraid I'm going to lose her. I don't want to leave her or lose her, but I want her to own her as she's making me out to be the bad guy in this because I've had so many questions about it. They message every day and she will literally stop everything to message him back, and she has removed my access to her phone, which we both had to each other's phones prior to this. I want to beat the piss out of this guy and let his wife know how much of a scumbag he is. Just feeling so pissed off and crazy about it. What do I do here? Is it wrong for me to feel the way I do about this? And the OP has an edit for us. Thanks to everyone who has posted and given their thoughts around this. I had an existing appointment with my individual counselor today, whom I see semi-regularly, and have walked away from that feeling a lot less S. Appreciate anyone who has reached out to me and had me in their thoughts and for sharing their thoughts. And the first comment says, at minimum, she's emotionally cheating and she thinks you're a wuss. Either live with being served seconds or put your foot down even if it means losing her. Notify the other wife. Either fight for her now or come back after it blows up. We'll leave the light on for you. And the OP replied, thanks, I appreciate it. She has made it clear that if she finds out I've told his wife, it's over, as that was one of the first go-to reactions I had around this. I actually think she'd be okay with me leaving, and I don't want that for many reasons. 2 of them being that I love her as much today as the first time I fell in love with her, and 2 being my kids. Any advice as to how I should tell the other guy's wife? And another commenter replied, just tell her everything. Then tell your wife you did it. Your wife threatened you because she has no more respect for you. And leave. It's better for you and your kids, because this will escalate to resentment and then constant fighting, and it will easily rub off your kids. So you really want to consider leaving before scaring your kids. But that's only my opinion. And the original commenter replied, don't know how you can kiss that woman knowing what you, in your heart, know what's going on. She's not only cheating, she's rubbing your nose in it. And the next comment says, I think you need to take a step back and realize that AP is not the only bad guy here. You seem extremely mad at him, but not at your wife. They are both at fault, and your wife is the one that is betraying you. You told her your expectations and she has ignored those. For her to blatantly disrespect you by rubbing his leg, creating a secret message system with him is enough for you to lose all trust. I would really consider marriage counseling now if you want it to work out. And the OP replied, thanks. Yeah, we had been doing marriage counseling sessions prior to this. Although she's apologetic about what happened, it seems like a big FU to me by her doing this and then saying to me that our past issues are what led her to this. And the commenter replied, Don't let her manipulate you and blame it on past issues. She's in control of all of her actions. Truthfully, it sounds awful what she's putting you through. I am sorry. And our next story is titled, Wife Caught Cheating with Simp She Met Streaming on Twitch. Let's get right into it. Buckle up, this gets interesting. Cove hits March of this year. My wife eventually in May and June complains of being bored, yet I bought her this $2,300 gaming PC she never uses. I advised her to hop back into gaming during this down period. She starts streaming and building friendships and a small community on Twitch and Discord. I'm confident that this is helping because it's such a low point in many people's lives to have any interactions. Late July/early August comes around, and due to our jobs, can't specify, we are on complete lockdown to the couple of mile radius and only able to go to essential stops such as gas and groceries. She decides to take a staycation with 2 girlfriends to a local hotel to have a girls' night. The first night goes past with a few texts. No problem, she needed to enjoy herself. I text her the next afternoon and then she tells me they're actually staying another night. She comes back to the house on that Sunday morning and sits next to me while I just woke up from the night prior and says we need to talk. She says that she needs to focus on her career and it's incredibly busy and she needs space. I respect this because she has been getting several opportunities to progress and I want to see her succeed. I let her be more alone, but when I do see her, I make sure I am affectionate to enforce I support her after a long day of work. She eventually says we need to talk again. This time she says, I cringe when you're affectionate to me, and says, I don't get it, and eventually says when we move back home, we live overseas, she wants to live separately and have me help pay for her apartment by herself. I explained that's not what I want and I could move where her job takes her most likely. It would be unfair to me because I would likely live somewhere without her or our dogs. She states I'm selfish for wanting to live with her and the dogs and not leaving her alone. I start to become depressed because I have a wife that will not touch me, tell me she loves me, or acknowledges me. I am crying in the shower regularly and eventually feel pathetic looking at videos online because I have a wife that won't be there for me. I also noticed her intercourse toys constantly being used, which I'm not mad about, but I hadn't been laid in 2 months and we don't even shower together anymore. I start to notice she's always on her computer streaming, which is expected because she's trying to build an audience on Twitch. I work in the social media realm and understand the work it takes to build a community. She started to become agitated if I come in while she's streaming or if I talk. I eventually never go into the computer room out of fear of being yelled at. September, I start to talk to my coworker about this and he says I should check her computer. I am the last person to want to touch a computer or phone. I am not the jealous type, but he finally opens my eyes to this idea. I go home one day and try to log on to the computer. The password is changed, but we already had this password set 2.5 years ago at this point. We go to dinner that night, and on the way, I am clenching my fist against on the steering wheel and gritting my teeth with this knowledge. I am battling in my head the idea that she is my wife and I should trust her, and also that if she is my wife, I should be able to talk about anything. I drop the bomb. She scoffs at my inquiry and says, of course not, and she changed the password to match her work computer. I feel a little more at ease because of how direct this was. Eventually, a week later, she has a baby shower with a mutual friend which I am invited. I go, but I had an infection so I was incredibly weak on antibiotics and just not feeling well. She is lovey-dovey and rubbing my shoulders and giving me kisses. She finally leaves her phone unguarded, which I noted to never be visible when I'm around. I try to log in and the password is incorrect. I play into my illness and go home with this new information, upset because now I am onto something. I remember one of the guys she plays with all the time and try to add him on Instagram. She gets outraged by me questioning her. I also had a work trip coming for a week at the end of October. She insists on knowing every detail, which seemed weird how much she was wanting to know that I would be gone when I am her husband. I go on the work trip and try to avoid to text to give her the space. I return and she picks me up and I get no affection. I miss you, I love you, or anything, it's just agitation. I took her out to dinner that night even though I was tired and took her to hit balls at the driving range on one of her favorite activities. She tries to film herself hitting the ball, which it wasn't filming, and as I tried to assist her, but insisted I don't touch her phone. I go to bed that night after my week-long work trip and still no intercourse. Mind you, I'm not asking for it all the time, but would like it at least 1 to 3 times a month. I'm frustrated in every fashion of the word. A week later, and it's the end of October, and I get an early day off of work. I go home and hear the sound of her speakers being plugged and unplugged from the computer, which makes me curious. I click on the mouse and the computer is unlocked. I knew this is my time to see what is going on. I go to the email and see nothing, but she bought Phasmophobia for Jay and Ed. She also had a confirmation email for downloading WhatsApp to her Apple Watch. She had never had a reason to use this app before. I eventually go to Discord, which I am not the best at navigating. I noted in one of the chats this guy Jay sends a heart emoji and she responds with a heart eyes emoji. I click on their messages and I see all of the messages. I start to record with my phone instantly as proof to present. I capture all the data I can and even saw on my birthday she was writing to him about missing him, etc. I send a text to her saying, "I know about Jay." She calls me instantly and is panicked and says she's coming home. We sit on the couch and talk, and she just tells me it's because she wanted to have entertainment. I notice she doesn't even cry, and she doesn't even say sorry. I had to tell her that she never said sorry, to which she then makes excuses. She claims she wants to be my wife, but can't right now. She sees us together in the future maybe, but not now. I tell her I need time to think about this. I want counseling, but she doesn't, and says she needs to work on herself. I eventually get her to say yes. I told her that she needs to change the passwords and tell him it's over. I understand if they need to talk. She agrees and we continue. That night, she's only talking about how she won't financially be able to survive without me. I reassure her that she can make it like any other person. The next day, I check the computer. She changes the password back, but has logged out of every single account and Discord where I found the messages. Technically, she did do everything I asked, so I'm not mad. I asked her what he said about it being over, and she tells me that Jay hasn't said a word back, and he isn't like that to write back. I then wait a week later and notice she left her phone upstairs. I try to log in and it's not changed. I address this and she becomes irritated at me for checking. I asked her to let me see the phone and she does a couple of fast strokes, so I know she deleted something quickly. I check Instagram messages and nothing. I instantly go to the phone call log and see she has still continued to talk to him on a regular basis even after the day I found out. At this point, I'm not even mad because I'm so torn down. A mutual friend of ours goes on a girl's day and eventually tells me she was still talking to him the entire day as well as several days later. I call off going to counseling at this point because I've realized she isn't serious about making this work. Weeks start to go by and we coexist. She has bought an air mattress and sleeps in the computer room. We only go for dinner and that's our only line of communication. She took money out of a savings account for our future, which we never touch. I ask why she took out the money when I financially can help and have paid for every bill since we have been together. She yells at me saying it isn't my business, but I also have known she lies about money and I have bailed her out of drowning credit card debt previously. I felt it was betraying my trust again to not make a couple's decision and work together with money. She eventually gets mad and kicks me out of the house because she realizes I stopped automatic payments to this joint account. Luckily, I have another place lined up and I'm here now since Thanksgiving. I spend weeks trying to get out of a slump. I schedule therapy for myself to help. Let my work know why I'm not in the best mood or performing to my best. She then starts to ask me to come over for dinner randomly. I feel alone and do miss my dogs, so I go over because I still miss my old life. To be honest, even though it never feels the same. She gets mad at me if I don't always say yes, and for Christmas, she bought me a PlayStation 5, which I previously was very excited about. Now, she can only talk about my need to stop focusing on the past and work on the future with us. I am still pending other therapy appointments, but this time has been invaluable for myself to reflect. My only regret right now is I have let this linger and didn't call it quits immediately when I found out. I have always been a fixer and someone that doesn't quit and can be relied upon, which I feel is being taken advantage of. She now wants this to work, but I'm afraid my feelings and trust are already too far gone. I am having a hard time telling her I want this to end because I still love this woman. But I can't be with her, and this is the hardest thing to understand for her and myself, I'm sure. I think I am looking for approval or justification to end it when I already have it. I just don't want to regret anything either, since we have been married for almost 8 years. I'm 30, I love being in a relationship, and because of this, I will have to give away my dogs. Also, she's a very angry person, and I think it will take anything she can from me, even with these circumstances. The best part about this is that this guy is a downgrade so bad that she hasn't shown me or her friends what this guy looks like. I have a good support system, but I may need some words of advice to make pulling this band-aid off quicker. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos, and be sure to comment below what other subreddits you want me to cover.